Hello, this is Diana. This is my Trailblazers of the Universe podcast. Some of you might know me from my Trailblazers of the Universe YouTube channel, where I help you fearlessly and unapologetically live your best, most authentic life and help you break through any barriers and transcend any limitations you may have. But the focus of this podcast is going to be a mix of spirituality, self-improvement, and healing as well. So today's topic is going to be how to get out of an undesirable circumstance. So everyone has a time in their life where they find themselves in an undesirable circumstance. That's just the way life is. There are ebbs and flows, seasons and cycles, ups and downs. But some people find themselves consistently in undesirable circumstances, which can be very discouraging. And some people feel very stuck and like they can't get out of their circumstance. So as someone who's been through a good amount of, as I would call it, darkness and even traumatic events and situations in life that felt very difficult to get out of. So I'm going to give you some tips and perspectives of what's helped me get out of bad circumstances. And some of the bad circumstances I'm referring to, but not limited to just these, are overcoming substance addiction, overcoming my mom taking her own life, overcoming mental health issues. I also have a period where I was on and off psychiatric medications. As someone that was really always living the high life, living for the thrills and the adventures and for the next dopamine hit to my brain, I guess you could say. We have to remember that what goes up comes down. Right? And I did just make a podcast recently about the importance of balance. Check that out. But my first answer to this question, how to get out of an undesirable circumstance, is the only way out is within you. You have to, first of all, take responsibility for whatever circumstance you're in, the part that you played. There are some circumstances that might be out of our control and some circumstances that are within our control, right? And there are some situations where maybe we made decisions that have compiled over time and now have led us to this path where we feel like we're stuck and we're in a deep hole and can't get out of it. There could be a lot of different circumstances, right? We have to remember that any circumstance that we are faced with is an opportunity for us to grow and an opportunity for us to reflect on ourselves, on the situation, and just really see where we could do something different. Sometimes you ask yourself, how the hell did I get in the situation I'm in right now? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, right? There's probably some self-sabotage involved. Maybe you've tried to do better things. Every time you get to a better point or about to get to a better point, or you're feeling good, and you've started a new healthy pattern of something, whether it's a way of thinking, feeling, acting, and sometimes we'll self-sabotage because our subconscious wants to keep us safe, right? And if you're used to doing things a certain way for a long time, you're used to that pattern, that's what's comfortable, that's what's known. I know what happens when I do this. Sometimes our nervous system is even used to having stress and even being miserable, and it's comfortable there. And especially if you're someone that's been through a lot of trauma, that can be like your comfort zone. Sometimes the stress, the mental breakdowns, and the misery can be like your comfort zone. So that's another reason why a lot of people can't get out of the situations they're in. You know, they can't break the cycle. They can't break the pattern. So it's going to require you to do something different. If we want to talk about manifestation, how do we shift to our desired reality? How do I become the version that I want? You have to think, feel, and act like that version. How are you showing up every day? What perspectives are you having on your current situation? Do you believe that you're stuck? A lot of times what you believe to be true becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I believe nothing's going to get better for me, I'm stuck, this is never going to change, a lot of times that is what happens. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And sometimes it's easier to stay in that situation and to be in your comfort zone than to get out of it. So even though you're miserable, you're addicted to the ups and downs, you're addicted to the misery, your nervous system is like primed for stress and trauma and anxiety. And I'm someone that's experienced this myself, so I understand very fully what that means and what that feels like. And A lot of people, in order to change, have to completely break themselves down and then build themselves back up. That's what I had to do. Now, it doesn't have to be like that for everyone, but a lot of times the only thing that's going to motivate people to change is a complete breakdown of the old self, or of your reality, or of your circumstances. That's what happened when I was struggling with substance addiction for a while. I went to holistic rehab to get better. I had to completely destroy my old self, basically. And I went through dark night of the soul, spiritual awakenings, which a lot of people go through. You have to see a vision beyond your current circumstances. We are often driven by emotions and even trauma. What is going to drive you out of the undesirable circumstance? What is going to drive you to take action? What's it going to take? Sometimes we need to remember our why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do you want what you want? Visualize. What is that life going to look like? Me being that person in that reality. Meaning those goals. Living that lifestyle. What does that look like? You have to have a clear vision in your mind of what that looks like. What it feels like. What do you believe about yourself? You have to believe that you can get out of the situation. You have to believe that you can do something better. You have to believe that there's more for you than this little situation in the big scheme of all things. This little moment in time, right? Time is an illusion anyway. The only thing that's constant is change. So, the reason you might feel stuck is because you might be resistant to change. You know that even though that's the reality you want, and that's a version of you want to be, you know that that's going to require some work. And like I said, again, your subconscious doesn't want to do extra work. It wants to keep you safe in the little box, right? That's its job. And that's why your nervous system works so well with your subconscious. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel safe. Oh, let me step away from that. But if you want to change, get out of your undesirable circumstance, you need to lean into the discomfort. Your comfort zone is your dead zone. Growth only happens through discomfort. So it's going to require you to be uncomfortable. You might have to sacrifice certain things, right? For the thing that you want. Could be sacrifice of time, energy, of certain things that you used to do that felt good, old unhealthy coping mechanisms. If you can start every day to start to think, feel, and act differently, your reality will change. With repetition, that will change. There are also good affirmations out there that can help change your beliefs. So adopting a new belief system can be tough when your subconscious has been repeating this story, this narrative, these beliefs for most of your life, right? We're programmed since we were a kid, whether it's from our parents, from school, from society, the media, right? There's so many ways we're programmed. So it can be very difficult to break through that programming and change your belief systems. There are a lot of good YouTube channels that have affirmations, even podcasts that have affirmations, anything like that. You want to listen to that on repetition. Dylan James, I'm going to shout out to him because when I was going through my addiction, he has some really good affirmations on his YouTube channel for like all different areas of your life or anything that you're struggling with. And that really helped me, because your self-concept is going to be very important. What you believe about yourself, what you believe you're capable of. A lot of times your nervous system is going to respond to that belief system, right? You have to believe that something else is possible for you. You don't even have to believe it's going to happen fully, but can you believe that something else is possible for you? Start to open up your perception to other possibilities. We are in a universe, multiverse, whatever you want to call it, that is full of infinite possibilities. So what's going on is you're so focused on this situation, on this circumstance, that you're not seeing the bigger picture. And actually, this could be helping you grow. I can't tell you how many times I was stuck in situations that were undesirable for a very long time, and somewhere in my control, somewhere out of my control, but I had the most growth through those experiences. Your challenges are always opportunities for growth. You got to change how you're seeing things. So even if you're not happy in your reality right now, you're looking around, you're like, oh, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. First of all, you got to change your perception. And remember that your words have power. Remember that your words have power and even your thoughts have power, right? And they emit a certain frequency. And the universe is responding to who you are being. And also where you're focusing your energy is what's expanding. So am I focused on the doom and gloom? This sucks. I'm miserable. I hate this, I hate that. You're going to keep manifesting that in your reality. That's your reality. You're solidifying that because you're believing that, you're feeling it, and then you're probably responding or acting like that's your reality, right? So sometimes it requires a little bit of being delusional. We're in a world full of illusions anyway. So I always say, go be delusional in a world full of illusions. And I don't mean that in a mentally unstable way, like go be psychotic. And, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, it's okay to dream big and to believe that something else is possible for you, even if you never experienced it yet. Even if all the odds are stacked against you and showing you the opposite. You have to kind of keep your mindset very strong. So when you're in the middle of transitioning to a different reality, as you start to develop better beliefs about yourself, better self-concepts, start to feel differently and even act differently and showing up differently, there will be a transition period where it might even seem like the old reality is falling apart or everything's crashing or going wrong, and that's because it is, and that's a good thing. There's divine order even in chaos. So that old reality needs to fall apart so your new reality can come in. So just allow everything to happen. Set boundaries, of course, as needed. And of course, if you're in an unsafe situation, go seek help as needed. Anything else, just got to keep your mind right. You got to work on your coping mechanisms, how you're dealing with life, how you're responding to what life throws at you. It's about responding, not reacting. The more you freak out and spaz out and have that chaotic energy, you're going to get that back. You get what you put out. So that's another thing. Having different responses to what's going on. Because the person that's in that reality that you want, that version that you want to be, right? How are they responding to challenges? How are they responding to not just challenges, like negative circumstances? You accept it for what it is and you move forward and you figure out a solution. Okay, it's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to process your emotions, but don't stay there. Keep it moving. What's the next best thing I can do? Okay, well, this happened. It is what it is. I can sit there and mope about it, or I can have a pity party, or I can do something about it and then learn from it and become an alchemist. On this podcast, I'm all about being an alchemist. You hear me use that term a lot. I even made a whole podcast on being an alchemist. Go check that out. It's one of my earlier podcasts I did. So no matter what life throws you, what's going on, you have to be able to switch it up, to pivot sometimes. Sometimes you tried something and it didn't work. Okay, let me find something that does work for me. And sometimes we take too much advice from other people when we could just tap into our own intuition. Intuitively, you know what to do, but you need to eliminate some of those distractions and all the noise and all the things that are trying to throw you off your path. When you're in your transition period of switching to a different reality, becoming a new version, healing, improving, anything like that, you're going to be tested. The old triggers are going to come up. The old wounds are going to come up. You'll have temptations come up. And these things are all going to try to self-sabotage you back into your old version, back into what's safe and comfortable, right? So it can feel like it's a battle. Stay on your path no matter what. With repetition, your reality is going to change. If you consistently start to think, feel, and act a different way, that's more in alignment with the reality you do want. It has to change. Reality is a mirror. You're shifting within. When you shift within, the outside will reflect that back. You consistently do that. There's going to be a transition period, like I said, where the old reality is going to be in your face, trigger you, and trying to get you to energetically respond to that like you did before, so you can keep creating that reality again and again and again, right? And that's why people are stuck in karmic loops on Earth, right? We talk about karmic patterns. No matter what you're going through, see the higher perspective. You might not see it right away. You might be miserable and just feel really stuck. But if you can start to think differently about it, like, how is this serving me? Maybe this isn't feeling so good right now, but this is going to make me stronger. This is going to make me wiser. I'm going to learn more from this experience. This experience is only temporary, and I'm going to learn from it. The more you can detach from that reality and stop giving it so much of a charge and have more neutrality, the more it will change. Because the more you're giving energy and attention to the negative aspect of it, so it's going to magnetize that. Start being more neutral. Just like detaching is good, because detaching, you're just more neutral. Like, okay, I'm cool if this happens. I'm cool if it doesn't. And you're releasing the resistance on it, right? So anything you want, we need to detach from our old self and our old reality. If you want a new reality, you're over here on the left. The reality you want is over here on the right. You need to be that version right now. See yourself as someone who overcomes challenges. See yourself as someone who is able to find solutions. It all starts with you. And be willing to do some shadow work and say, why do I keep ending up in this situation? What's causing me to be in this circumstance? Could be some outside factors, could be some inside factors, but really go within. Like, is there some kind of habit that I have? A good way to find out like where your belief systems are, if you keep asking yourself, why am I doing this? Why is this happening? Why? Keep, journal out a little bit and see what comes up for you. Because whatever's coming out of that journal, your first initial response is probably your belief system that is programmed into your subconscious. So that narrative that you keep telling about this is solidified into a belief system. So that first initial response, like what comes up mentally, like when you think about that, is something you should look into and keep digging. Why? Okay, well, this is what I believe, but you know what? I can choose to believe something different. I can choose to affirm something different. I can choose to live something different. I'm not as stuck as I think I am. I could start to do something. I just need to do something different. I can't tell you how many times I've been in bad situations and I think it's some complex, crazy thing I need to do to get out of the situation. And a lot of times it was just something simple, like change your routine. For me, it was like do some meditation, do some breath work out. Exercise has been a big one for me recently. When I be feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and not happy with certain things, or maybe I don't feel like I'm making as much progress as I think I should be making. Sometimes exercising, get out of my head into my body, that helps me a lot. I said think something different, feel something different, act differently, take a different action, like do something spontaneous, pursue a new hobby, pursue a new project, start to figure out what your purpose is on this planet, start to reflect more on why you're doing what you're doing, and make changes. It's all about taking action. The quickest way you're going to get out of an undesirable circumstance is to take action. For me, when I was going through addiction, I went to holistic rehab. That was a very big change I made, but you know what? That saved my life. And it changed my life forever. Sometimes it could be pursuing your passions more. If you feel stuck in undesirable circumstances because you're not following your passions, you're not living from the heart space, you're living someone else's life that isn't yours, and you got yourself so deep into something that you don't know how to get out of it. But the only way out is in. How can I shift within so the outside reality changes? And you don't do it just so the outside reality changes, obviously, so you feel better, to improve your life, to increase your overall well-being, to live a more fulfilling life. So don't be afraid to explore new territories. I actually like to do things that put me out of my comfort zone. Another example is me starting my YouTube channel. When I was recovering from substance addiction, I just got out of a holistic rehab. I felt very broken, very just like a mess, pretty much. And I didn't even know what to do. I broke myself down to the point where I was at square one, right? I had to start my life pretty much all over again. The way I'm living, the way I'm thinking, feeling, acting, my lifestyle, everything had to change for me to heal and get better, right? I started doing content creation. And that little thing, it sounds like something little, I'm making a video. Everyone has TikTok these days. No, but I started off on YouTube, and that was a catalyst for everything to change. Like, it was me expressing myself on camera. That was really outside of my comfort zone to do that. And it really helped me gain more confidence. It changed my whole life around. I've started to build a lifestyle around content creation. I create different types of content on different platforms, and that really helped me break out of that cycle, break out of undesirable circumstances that I was in. So the big thing is accepting yourself, no matter what situation you're in, taking responsibility, taking accountability for any choices you may have made to lead to your situation, not judging yourself, having full radical acceptance of yourself, and doing something different. Every experience you have in your life, there's something you can learn from it, and try to enjoy your life more. You could find joy in the little moments in your life. I don't care what kind of circumstance you're in. If you can just create your own sacred space somewhere, whether it's in your bathtub, well, that's what it used to be like for me. Whether it's in your car, whether it's going out into nature. If you're in a completely toxic environment that you live in, and you hate it there, maybe it's with your toxic family or a relationship that isn't serving you, or whatever your situation is. I know the economy is rough, so some people are in living situations that they don't want to be in. I was one of them too at one point. And I just had to find something that brings me joy, some little pleasure, comfort, obviously something that's not toxic and harmful, but something that brings you joy. Even for me, it's going on nature walks. Finding your own little space where you can feel safe and enjoy being in your own energy. Sometimes it takes a while to create that when you've been in situations that were toxic or environments that weren't fostering your growth. So this was a little bit of a rant, this podcast. I think I jumped from a bunch of different topics, but that's what podcasts are for, right? So I hope I gave you some different perspectives and some inspiration and motivation for you to get out of an undesirable circumstance, or just seeing it from a different perspective sometimes is all it takes, or taking action. But action is usually the key, because we can think of all these ideas that we might want to do one day, or they're going to help us, and I can try to feel this certain way for a certain amount of time, but taking that inspired action is really what's going to help you get out of a situation, and not being afraid to get out of your comfort zone, because that's where the growth is going to happen. And also keep in mind that everything is temporary and change is the only constant. And a lot of times, the only times we're feeling stuck is because we're not going with the changes. We're not moving with the energy of change. We're staying stuck in our little comfort zone. So you have to be willing to break out of that if you want to have a more desirable circumstance. So if you resonate with this podcast, make sure to give me a follow, like, and a 5-star review where applicable. It is greatly appreciated, and it really helps me get into the algorithm where I can reach and help more people. If you want to follow me on any of my socials, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, or sign up for coaching, the links are in the show notes as well. I am signing off the Trailblazers of the Universe podcast. Have a good day, keep your head up, and namaste.